There's a really fascinating and, frankly, deeply important debate happening right now about Black identity and the best path forward for empowerment. And it's one that pits two pretty powerful ideas against each other. Getting a handle on this tension is so key to making sense of today's social and political landscape.
So, what's this all about really? Well, it boils down to one huge question. How should we define identity? Is it something that's rooted in a very specific shared family line tied to one place? Or is it about a much broader, global unity that connects people all across the world? This is the fundamental tension we're going to unpack.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at this ideological divide. Then we'll break down both the FBA and the Pan-Africanist perspectives. After that, we'll see exactly where they clash, and finally, where they might actually find some common ground.
So let's just dive right into the divide itself. We're talking about two very different approaches to achieving justice. And yeah, while both are aimed at empowerment, their starting points, their core beliefs and strategies, are what really set them on two totally different paths.
What's so interesting is that the entire debate, really, it all hangs on how you define just three things: identity, history, and political goals. And depending on how you answer those, you pretty much end up in one of two very different ideological camps.
All right, so let's dive into the first of these philosophies, the FBA perspective. This one argues for a real laser focus on a uniquely American lineage. So, what exactly is Foundational Black Americans, or FBA? Well, the term defines a very specific group, Black Americans, whose family history traces directly back to slavery right here in the U.S. The whole idea is that this incredibly unique and shared historical experience actually created a new and distinct ethnic group. And that perspective, it leads to some pretty specific arguments. See, the thinking is, because this lineage is its own unique ethnicity, the focus has to stay on the specific harms of American slavery and segregation. And that, of course, leads to calls for policies like reparations that are tied directly and exclusively to that specific history.
Okay, so now let's pivot. We're going to go from that very national focus to something much, much broader, the Pan-Africanist vision, which is a call for global Black solidarity.
Pan-Africanism, well, it operates on a totally global scale. Its main idea is the unity of all people of African descent, no matter where they are in the world. It argues that these shared global struggles against things like colonialism, racism, and economic exploitation, well, that's what creates the most powerful unifying bond of all. So you can see the big emphasis here is on a collective identity that just goes way beyond any single country's borders. And this isn't a new idea, right? It has deep historical roots in the work of incredible thinkers like W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. It's all about prioritizing the fight against those shared struggles that affect the entire African diaspora.
All right, so we've laid out both sides. Now let's get to the heart of it. Where do these two powerful visions really start to pull apart? This is where you can see a real tension in their priorities and their focus.
This chart makes the differences super clear. For FBA, the primary focus is all about the unique U.S. context, and identity is based on that specific lineage to U.S. slavery. So the scope is national. But for Pan-Africanism, the focus is on global solidarity, identity is based on a shared African descent, and the scope is, by definition, international.
And of course, when you have these different priorities, you're going to get critiques from both sides. FBA supporters worry that a broad Pan-African focus could end up diluting the very specific claims for justice tied to U.S. slavery. But on the flip side, Pan-Africanists argue that an exclusive national focus could actually weaken the global solidarity that's needed to fight the big systemic problems that affect everyone.
But here's the thing. It's really important to see that this isn't just about conflict. I mean, despite these different approaches, if you look a little closer, you can find a lot of common ground and shared goals in this bigger quest for justice.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you zoom out and look at the ultimate goals, there's a huge amount of overlap. Whether you're talking about fostering cultural pride, achieving economic advancement, or securing historical justice, both movements are often pulling in the same direction. It's like so many things, right? The what is the same. It's the how that's up for debate.
And look, this is why this whole conversation is so important right now. This isn't just some abstract academic debate. This dialogue directly shapes the very real conversations we're all having today about things like reparations policy, immigration policy, and the very nature of cultural identity in the 21st century.
Which, brings us right back to where we started, with that central, massive question.
Is the path to justice best served by a focused, very specific group identity, or does real lasting change require the biggest, broadest global coalition you can build? There's no easy answer here, and how we all navigate that question is going to continue to shape our future.